This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back to the show. Honored to have our dog trainer, career coach, and so much more joining us today live from Hawaii. Sabrina Clark, how's it going today?
It's great. How are you? Happy New Year's
Oh,
Eve.
happy New Year's Eve to you. I'm so happy to have someone who's so amazingly passionate about animals and about helping them. And all you do, I get to be here live with you today on the Zoom, get to see your beautiful face and to really
Thank you.
connect with you. Balanced obedience, just one of the things she does. The World Dog Foundation, yet another charity offering a free course and so much more. She does career coaching, online dog training, and so much more. Please introduce yourself to everyone. Thank you so much.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. My name is Sabrina Clark, and I'm primarily a dog trainer, but I am happily becoming more of a philanthropist and supporting dogs and humans through my nonprofit, the World Dog Foundation. So I've been working with dogs in all different capacities since I was a child and became a professional dog trainer in 1986, which is a
Oh,
long time ago. Yeah.
I know. And let's get an overview of you and who you are since it is the first Zoom we're doing. Would love to
Okay.
hear a little bit of the background. Thank you.
Okay, great. So I grew up in Sacramento, California, and I was lucky enough to have parents who were really supportive about my love for animals and got me into showing horses and subsequently dogs at a young age. And 4-H put on a great program to teach you about how to be a good community member, and animal husbandry was held to the highest regard. And I just became more and more interested in becoming a scientist. I really wanted to become a marine biologist when I grew up. And I loved genetics from a very early age and began just training animals as much as I could. And then I was lucky enough to decide to move to Hawaii and fulfill my dream as a marine biologist in my early 20s. And I moved to the island of Oahu in 1993,
Mm-hmm.
and entered school for double major in zoology and psychology. So that really taught me more about evolution and what animals are and what human beings are and all the intricacies of science. And ultimately, I went into graduate school for law and wanted to work in environmental law. So I did a little bit of that and came out of law school and began my dog training business, and it took off, and I haven't stopped. And that's all I've been doing since. So my
Beautiful.
education really helped me create what I have now.
Amazing. And by the way, tell everyone where you're living specifically.
I'm on the island of Oahu, in the state of Hawaii, and it's beautiful here. I've been so lucky to be able to live here and succeed. I don't have family here, and a lot of people say when you move to the island that the island will choose you whether you get to stay here or not. Somebody told me that right when I moved here. And it's been like, I don't know, 34 years. So I guess obviously the
Oh,
island.
it definitely chose you. And all the babies that you help choose you.
Yeah,
Come on, they needed
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Wow.
So, so it's been really amazing. And to just feel so lucky to live in Hawaii is amazing. The people here are so kind. The culture's so interesting. The land is so beautiful. The air is so pure. The water is delicious. It is just great. And I'm lucky to live on a large piece of property in rural farmland with big, huge trees. And every day I wake up just happy as could be.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much. Where did you want to start? Can we talk a little bit about balanced obedience first? Because this is for
Yeah,
professional
yeah.
puppy dog trainers in person, online. We're talking dog training, puppy training, group training, one-on-one online classes. You do boarding as well. Uh, one of the many things you do. So tell us a little bit about this service first, if you don't mind.
Oh, no problem. So Balance Obedience was founded on the island of Oahu in 2008, and my primary focus was what I call my boot camp, where I would just take a pet dog and put it through a program where it would know basic obedience and listen to the owner. And that's been a very successful program. And I started that concept in 2008 before there was anybody else doing it. Now there's a ton of people doing the same type of thing, but board and train wasn't popular when I started. I trademarked the name Balanced Obedience, and now there's an entire segment of dog training referred to as balanced dog training, but they can't call it Balanced Obedience because I have the trademark to that. So in a lot of ways, I was at the forefront of two big areas of dog training that are popular now, and I just let me see, like, I know a good thing and how it works. I do like training dogs in a pack. I like to use the other dogs to help train the new dog how to behave. So I use a lot of what would be called modeling. So, they're very acute to each other's body language and eye
Yeah.
contact. And so if I'm teaching a dog to sit or down or stay, and then I'm training a trained dog first, and then the new dog is watching, it's like, ha ha, and then they learn. It's like right now I'm raising five 13-week-old puppies, and they're future
Oh,
service dog candidates. And
oh,
I know, and I'm trying to whip through this training before I go on my
oh, yeah.
exciting trip,
Oh,
which we'll talk about
we
later.
want to hear
So
about that too. Oh my gosh, I'm so
I know,
envious.
we'll get
But
to
this
that.
is great stuff. Go ahead.
I know, it's gonna be so good. I'm so excited. Yeah, so I have these adorable puppies. So they're Golden Mountain Doodles. I raise them. So they're Bernedoodle crossed with Golden Doodle, and they're specifically raised for service dog. And I already have, I have a couple clients, one in a wheelchair, a couple of psychiatric service dogs. So I'm raising these puppies. So I've now have the puppies integrated in my entire pack of dogs that are back for boarding and training. So everyone here has been trained except for these puppies and a couple new guys. And so I can watch the puppies watching. They're like, oh, wow, and they're learning
Yeah.
sit and down and everything, just watching the other dogs. So that's how I like to train is I like to use the trained dogs to help model the behavior, which is what we do in my group classes as well. So I did not want to do group classes for the longest time, but I always kind of offered them like here and there, like once a month kind of thing. But last year I decided I really want to be more of a content creator. So I'm going to offer classes 4 days a week, and I'm going to record all it. And I'm really going to collect exactly how to train dogs. And my goal is to put a dog fully through my program and I never hold the leash, where I can just tell the owner how to move and it'll happen. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I've had great success. And so I'm going to continue with those group training classes. And now I'm starting one that's called a pub access. So they have what's called public access for service dogs. So they have to go into a grocery store and be able to ignore food in front of them. And I do these tests often for all my service dog clients, which has become about 75% of my work. And so I was thinking, oh, there's a lot of pet dog owners who want a dog just as good, but they thankfully don't have a disability. They don't have a need for the public access test. And the AKC Canine Good Citizens test is very good. And that's kind of the industry standard, but it's a little bit hard. I won't lie. There's this one part where you have to be able to have your dog down, stay, and leave out of sight for 2 minutes. So how many dogs do you know can do that?
Hmm.
Not too many. Like
Mm-mm.
it's right. It's a challenge. That's a challenge. So I wanted to do something that's a little bit easier just to show dogs would be really good in like a pub setting. So we're gonna
Okay.
start doing what I call a pub
Oh,
pub access. So train dogs for adults as well. So that's part of my group training. So I do the board and train, I do the group training, and then during COVID, I decided I'm going online as almost every other business owner, right? And so I really wanted to bridge the gap for people who needed a psychiatric service dog and couldn't do it. And at the same time, the Department of Transportation changed their law. So you could no longer fly with your
yeah.
emotional support turkey or whatever, right? Like, and that law was well do. Like we couldn't have people
Yeah.
flying on planes with all this ridiculousness with the animals. And I do believe that emotional support animals are important. I want to talk more about like how much it's been proven that dogs help humans and our mental health specifically immensely. But you have to take into account everyone else on the plane. You can't be harming someone else for your own behalf, right? So that's where you're just not being like a good community member. So a lot of people all of a sudden needed a psychiatric service dog, but they only had an emotional support dog. And there needs to be a good degree of training to overcome that. So I created an online program to help people do that because I feel like there's probably a lot of people who just don't have access to a trainer in their area, or maybe they don't want to work out in public so much. A lot of people have agoraphobia or a fear of, crowded places. And so I created a professional program to help people with that. So that's on my online course offering. If you go to the website at balancedobedience.com, you'll see the online courses there. And I do have a 50% discount for everyone listening today. And the code is balanced.
Beautiful. Go ahead. Tell us. Balanced. Balanced.
Yeah, balanced with a D. Yeah.
Perfect.
Uh,
What else is on tap? I mean, the plethora of the amount of work that you do, let alone the organization. So you're just going to take the reins here because you have a lot to talk about. And I
uh,
love it. I'm here. I'm here listening, learning, and
uh,
I hope our listeners are benefiting from all this too, of course.
I'm so excited. So the World Dog Foundation, I really wanted to start connecting with the community more. So
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to work with a local school here on the island of Oahu. It's called Asset School, and all the
Okay.
children are on the spectrum. So, but they're mostly gifted. A lot of them end up going to great colleges, and that school mandates that the children volunteer every week, like all the way through high school, and really get out there into the world. And so I've now had, I think, 8 of these children come through my program. And some of them work for like therapy for themselves because they'll be like so scared of dust
Yeah.
and flies or whatever. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a farm, you guys. Like, we keep it really clean, but it's an acre. There's animals everywhere. There's going to be a little bit of hair, like, and dog poop is, I have a sign on my gate that says shit happens because, like, we're always just keeping them clean. You're washing them and cleaning and cleaning and cleaning, right? So these children come in and they're like, oh my gosh, this mission was such a great sense of like caring and just observing and like getting in down and dirty, doing their work. So that's been super enriching for me. And then on the other side, I've been working with our local wounded warriors. And so
Mm-hmm.
they'll be coming out on the
Aw.
22nd of January. I'll get some more footage for that. And so a lot of these wounded warriors are being discharged for the Marines. For different things. And so to have the service dog help them feels really good. I had one young woman who fell in love with this puppy. So I raised the puppies, and one of the things I do is I let the Marines just come and sit on the floor and hold the puppies, and everyone just
Oh,
has a puppy fest. They love it so much. And so this one young Marine, she loved this puppy. She named it Ocean. She had blue eyes, the puppy. And then she ended up getting discharged and she moved to Florida. And so this is a couple of years ago. I was like, hey, I'm going to this dog trainer seminar in South Carolina. I could meet you out your way and I could train up Ocean and bring her to you. And she's like, oh, let's do it. So I flew Ocean with me and we went first class. She flew perfect. It was a long flight from Hawaii all the way over to Chicago and then down to South Carolina. And the woman and I did the public access test together and they
yeah.
passed, no problem. And then she flew Ocean down to Florida. And then the next day, that woman had her first unbeknownst seizure, sadly.
Oh,
And that little dog went and got her husband and brought the husband over to her. And like she'd only had the dog for like 2 days, not even 2 days. It's amazing. Like there's such incredible creatures.
oh my goodness. Now, currently,
Yeah.
okay, animal wise, how many can you handle there in your on your property at a time?
Well, okay, so just so you know, I'm not barred from any amount of animals because I'm on ag land in the state of
Yeah.
Hawaii. So there's no like, okay, so I'm allowed to have so more than my fingers and toes. We have quite a few animals, but I have a staff. I had 7 workers yesterday. Like it's pretty top notch. Like everything's mopped and good, and animals get lots of excitement. Today, though, as you know, is New Year's. Oh my gosh, so we should talk about that now, because you're like, oh, how do you live in a house full of dogs on New Year's? That must be fun. And this is where I feel like, oh, this is my tower moment. I get to be all by myself and really like craft my future with all my furry friends here. So I bring them all in before dark. Hawaii is freaking nuts for fireworks. Like this place is so
Really? I had no
off the wall.
idea.
Oh yeah. Oh, they love these ones from China that just go boom. They just boom. Like the houses are shaking. Like they're supposedly illegal now, but I don't know, man. It's crazy. So it's like a war zone in Hawaii. Hawaii is nuts for, and we don't really celebrate the 4th of July here too much, but New Year's, because we got so many different cultures, is a really big deal. So I would say I definitely stay home on New Year's, keep all the animals happy. So they come in early and I just crank music loud and I leave all my lights on and I shutter the curtains. And right now, I don't have any dogs here that are going to be stressed. I used to take care of this one golden retriever, and he would salivate and get really worried. And I use kennels, and then I use a calming product. It's called Quiet Moments. They have it at Petco or PetSmart. give them that, and they're fine. And if they get really sassy with me, I'll vacuum the floors because a lot of times they're like, "Ah, that vacuum cleaner," and that almost bothers them more. So that's like my New Year's thing is I vacuum my floors and just play music and just keep them entertained. But people who are home and their dog is not worried, great, bless your heart. That's so nice for you. The majority of dogs do not like fireworks. It's not their thing. So be sure that your dog is kept safe, has identification. You should have a microchip for all your dogs. If you do lose your dog, the first thing you want to do is like check and make sure it's not hiding in your house, like under your bed or in the backyard under the bushes. And then put up signs in the neighborhood right away, notify your microchip company, and then notify the local shelters in your areas. Um, so nobody wants to lose their dog. That's not a good way to start the New Year's or
No,
any
no.
time. So I would say keeping your dog secure is super important. So if your dog's not crate trained, then you may want to sequester them to a room that's more secure in the back of the house, like a back bedroom. Put on fans, air conditioning, classical music or Hawaiian music, some kind of nice music. Um, and they'll usually settle through it okay. There are some other products out there. One's called a Thunder Shirt, and it's this like really tight garment. And this really interesting woman who she talked about how they would use these squeeze chute for cattle where the cattle would be like squished and then they'd be calm for them to like check them and stuff, and then she made a squeeze chute for herself for her neurodivergence, and then
Ah,
that concept went into this thing called a thunder shirt. So it's just basically like a tight shirt, and there's something about that squeezing action which can calm dogs. I have experimented with that with not much success. There's also pheromone products that you can purchase that are representing the pheromone that the mother gives off when they're nursing. So the dogs smell this pheromone and they're like, "Oh, it's like I'm nursing as a baby. I'm so calm." I've also tried that without much success. But those are two products that are very popular. And then if your dog's super neurotic, you can go to the veterinarian and they'll prescribe drugs. I would say that most of my boarding clients, they always drop the dogs off with drugs. I've never given drugs to any dogs. Like I don't subscribe to that. But a lot of people do. The veterinarians allow it. And so if that makes your dog happy, makes you happy, I'm not going to curtail that. It's just for me because they're in a pack. If I have one dog that's like stone in the corner, all the other dogs are like, "Dude, what's wrong with you?" And it's like a bad trip for the dog that's stoned. So I just
yeah.
to keep them all on the same plane. I keep them all sober. We're a sober facility here. So that's New Year's. You want to keep your dog safe. You may want to feed a little bit less that day. If you overfeed your dog on New Year's and then it gets bad poop because it's nervous, that's not a good way to start off the day. So I
No.
do maybe want to add a little canned pumpkin to their food, a little extra fiber, feed a little bit less. And just, if you really can't take care of your dog, you could board it with someone like myself who will take good care of them. So a lot of
I
boarding
love it.
facilities are super busy on New Year's. So you can go out and party and drink champagne and watch the ball drop and just fucking love your life and not worry about your dog cowering under the bed.
Well, tell me what's going on. Where are you headed soon? You have some exciting stuff as well.
I'm so excited. Okay, so I have booked my ticket. I am going to Pura Vida Pup.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone out there is a dog trainer and they're looking for a retreat, check it out. I think they got like one more space left. So it's a dog trainer. She's hosting a roundtable discussion about the ethics of dog training within uh, dog training as a career choice. So we're going to be talking about the pros and cons about how dog training has become so politicized, polarized, almost nasty in some ways. Like I am just shocked at what has happened to this industry. And I have no idea how it's really going to play out. And as an attorney, it's almost like some of these actors are practically creating like a taking on other people's business, right? Which there's no legal right to do it. And then trying to get government involved on how to manage this industry is
Mm-hmm.
also very tricky. And so there's lobbying efforts, there's, mudslinging online. There are two dog trainer organizations that are kind of at odds. So they've almost become like our political parties where it's dichotomized. And so this roundtable discussion is just to really help us humanize dog training because we really need to treat each other better. Like if you get dog trainers to try to talk to each other, it's hard. Like they don't all love each other so much. It seems like those that are successful and really, we'll just say making over $500,000 a year, I went to a dog trainer seminar where we're talking about business, and everyone there got along because everyone's in business. And we didn't really care how you're training the dog, because obviously if you're successful, uh, you're doing something right. And we could talk more about how to get the education out there. So this smaller seminar is going to be much the same, but it's also going to be like just a chance to go and visit the local rescue. So I'm going to be doing a little philanthropy on this trip. So I'm going to donate to the local rescue in Costa Rica while I'm there. And then I'm going to be traveling to Belize, and I'm going to be visiting 2 dog rescues there as well. And so the World Dog Foundation is my nonprofit. It's a 501(c)(3). And so we're going to be practicing some philanthropy this year and giving money to rescues in both Costa Rica and Belize, and then finally El Salvador. El Salvador is really new on the animal welfare front, and my
Mm-hmm.
sister is there now. And so I'll be visiting my sister, and we'll be going together because she's also part of the World Dog Foundation, and we'll be helping support like this new up and coming animal welfare group there. So I hope to collect a lot of footage and learn more about the challenges of the strays and the mange and the worms and the health conditions that these dogs in the tropics have. We take a lot for granted here in the United States. Our veterinary industry has done a really good job absolving many of the challenges of dogs. And then as a zoologist, part of me feel strongly about how dogs affect the natural animals, right? So when I was in Bali, there was a big thing to work on rabies, because then the monkeys are getting rabies, and it's going back and forth between the two populations. Here in Hawaii, we've not had dog distemper, but we vaccinate all the dogs against distemper because the Hawaiian monk seal can get distemper. And there's like less than like I think 750 of these monk seals. They're like one of the most endangered seals on the planet.
Wow.
And so obviously the dog population can affect the natural population of other animals if the disease can go back and forth between them. So that's one thing I'm really curious about while I'm down there, is to see what's the interplay between the native fauna and the dogs. And so that will be one of the top things that I'll be looking at. So that trip's coming up in February. Right before then, I'll be delivering a couple service dog candidates over to the Big Island of Hawaii. So I'm excited about that trip as well. And so I have my hands full. I'm raising a bunch of puppies, and I have placed a few really good service dogs this year. I'm very thankful for that. I placed one a few months back to a young man whose mom wanted him to get a service dog because he had seizures and he would fall down and hurt himself. And he was against the idea of getting a service dog. And I told him, I said, well, this choice is being made by your family because they care about you and they just want somebody there watching over you. And he begrudgingly agreed to try. And he and the dog bonded so good. And amazingly, he hasn't had a seizure since he got the dog. And so we can
Yeah.
just chalk it up to coincidence. But, a lot of the people on the spectrum, they end up getting seizures, and stress is obviously a part of it. And so I
Oh,
think by
yeah.
having a dog reduces stress. So even if we're not talking about somebody who has any kind of disability, they just came out with a great study in 2024. There's been several of them, but this is one of the more recent ones, about how dogs over the lifespan of a human being can help in numerous ways. So they were saying that teenagers that are raised with a dog have much better social skills. The
Uh-huh.
elderly who have a dog are much less
Oh,
likely to suffer from loneliness. And then in general, like there's lower levels of anxiety, lower levels of
oh, yeah.
depression. They release oxytocin, they make us more active. And so I wanted to kind of tie into a whole New Year's thing, like, oh my gosh, like when you think about New Year's, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to set goals for myself, right? So you got your like quadrants. You got, oh, I got my health, my wealth, my relationships. And so if we're looking at relationships, I would urge a lot of people to improve their relationship with their dog. And if they don't have a dog, or they don't want a dog, that's okay. But to find other ways to really open that heart space to something else, and to really just by giving to these animals and then they give back to us, it increases our capacity to love, which really makes us all better people.
Oh, my goodness. I love this. We still got 4 more minutes left in the show, sweetheart. So want
Oh
to
my
make sure
gosh.
we are covering everything today. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so we got fireworks. Okay, I wanted to talk about perimeter training a little bit. So, two things that will help your dog this time of year. So, crate training, don't start crate training today, okay? It's New Year's. It's not a day to do it. But if your dog is crate trained, that is the sweet spot for your dog. Get it a nice bully stick. You can get a Kong. They do make like a cheese whiz to put in it. My trick for Kongs is like get the little silicone ice cube tray and put canned dog food in it, like halfway. Freeze it, pop those in the Kong. They're like these little chunks of frozen canned dog food. Oh, yum, yum. Not personally, but they love it. And give your dog like a Kong with one of those. Keep its mouth busy.
Yeah.
And you can do that instead of the evening meal. And you can cover the crate. You can put that cool the room. The colder the room, the more they sleep. I'll be honest, my dogs are gonna be like 66 degrees. So they're just gonna be all like cryogenically frozen. They're not gonna be scared of anything because they're just stay warm. And that's like the biggest trick, keep your dog cool. Okay. And so they don't like being hot with the fireworks. Just cool it down as best you can. I was saying to freeze your dog. I'm being funny, but I
I
keep them
know. I
72 degrees.
know.
And I know. But cool them down. And then if your dog isn't crate trained, secure them in a strong area. And then imagining the dog loose in the home, people are like, oh, my dog's a good dog. And then the fireworks are going off. The dog is nervous. Maybe you're not paying attention. Maybe you're drinking a little champagne. Someone comes in the door and boom, out goes your dog, right? And then you've lost your dog and now you're having a bad night. So another way to prevent that, besides crate training or sequestering your dog, which I recommend, would be to really do some solid foundation training at the door. So you should be able to swing that door open and bring groceries in and out of your house, and your dog does not think of leaving that doorway. So if your dog's not that well trained, it needs to be put away. I wouldn't challenge your training on New Year's. But if your dog is not that well trained, this is my ask of you, is to put more time in on your relationship with your dog and really teach it what's expected of it to be safe. And a solid boundary training is really good. Leash training is really good. A sit stay, a downstay, a recall, or come when you call them. Those are all like the basics that they need to have a safe life in our society.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much. And if we want to reach out to you, let's share the websites, how we can do that.
Okay, great. So my website is balancedobedience.com, which is BALANCED.com. And then my nonprofit is the World Dog Foundation, which is worlddogfoundation.org. And there's a free canine career coaching course on both of those if there's anyone listening who's interested in having a career with dogs. And I'll be hosting a career retreat in Hawaii later this year. I'll tell you more about it as we get closer.
All right. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you and all the animals. And thank you for being so amazing and helping so many. And hopefully we back again next week, or are you away yet?
Yeah. Nope. I'll be here for the month of January.
All right. Good, sweetie. Looking forward to you. Have a fantastic day. Great seeing you. Happy New Year.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.